Hey y'all, welcome to Reflecting Divinity. My name's Jamie. I am an intuitive reader, and you may be familiar with some of my pick a cards. I haven't been very consistent, but I am stepping out of the broom closet. I just feel inspired because it's Halloween. I feel energized. I love Halloween. I love Samhain. And I wanted to share an experience I had, and maybe it will help some of you. I have been practicing with friends over Zoom, practicing our psychic abilities with each other, doing some intuitive and spiritual development things. And so a few weeks ago, for some context, I had watched Beetlejuice the night before this practice session. I had never seen Beetlejuice before. I thought it was pretty, it was good. It was all right. It was great for spooky season. And so I had practice the next day. And one of my friends asked who her gatekeeper is, or who could be her gatekeeper on her spirit team. What spirit guide would step up? And if you aren't super familiar, the concept of a gatekeeper is a spirit guide that will kind of regulate who is allowed to come into your psychic field, into your energy, and interact with you. So a gatekeeper can decide, kind of like a bouncer who can come in and who can't. And so anyway, she asked who her gatekeeper is. And so we all took turns tapping in. It's just amazing what can happen when you are practicing with other people, because spirit will make sure that you all are getting different but equally important parts of the message that's meant for the sitter. Spirit first showed me in my mind's eye. I tend to be fairly clairvoyant, and I see things within my mind, images, things like that, pictures, symbols. And what Spirit showed me was Kuan Yin and Mary Magdalene, or Lady Nada. And the way it came through is in Kyle Gray's oracle cards. So like Spirit knows that I'm familiar with this imagery. So I kind of had a sense of seeing these two cards in my mind's eye and knew what they meant. Spirit showed me pink chrysanthemums, and the kind of energy that I felt into with them was very much in line with Lady Nada and Kuan Yin, with the heart, with the compassion, and that very soft kind of pink energy, very feminine energy. And so I was like, cool, okay. And then I got a sense of a human, maybe a past loved one or an ancestor. It kind of had a feeling of maybe more distant. That's the best way I can describe it. So I was thinking, well, maybe ancestor, someone who's passed on before. And then I saw a wedding gown. I got the sense of a wedding, and I was like, okay, what is this about? And I saw that chrysanthemum transform into a bouquet to kind of further that idea of a wedding. It felt very angelic too, like, harp, music, angel. I was like, okay, so who is her gatekeeper? Is it Kuan Yin or Mary Magdalene, or is it some bride? Like, what am I seeing, Spirit? And the figure that I was seeing in the wedding gown started to kind of become a bit more detailed, and I saw blonde hair. And I was like, okay, so it's like a blonde woman in this wedding gown. And then all of a sudden I saw her face transform and like fangs come out. So like kind of scary, but it wasn't really scary, not to me, but I was like, that is so weird. Like, someone can't have a vampire for their gatekeeper. I judged it. I judged it when it came through. And so I was like, I'm going to write it down, but I'm not going to say that part. I'm not going to tell her that I was seeing this kind of creepy, scary face, like kind of, I'm gonna scare you, and I see, vampire fangs, but in a wedding gown and blonde hair. I was like, I don't know. So anyway, when the time was up, it came around to my turn eventually, and I was like, okay, well. So I explained the Kuan Yin. I even explained, like, I saw a wedding dress and I felt like maybe blonde hair, and she related to it, and she explained how she related to both of those. And she very much did feel that Kuan Yin was very much on point, because she, as soon as I had mentioned it, she was like, yes, like, I very much connect with Kuan Yin and her compassionate heart. Well, I thought in my mind that the reason I was seeing this scary-faced vampire coming through was maybe that I had watched Beetlejuice the night before, and that it was kind of like intrusive thoughts. And it was just like recurring, because I just thought, well, maybe I'm not as connected as I should be, or not as clear as I should be. And that Beetlejuice is seeping into my psychic ability practice. Well, she explains that she also tapped in for herself, and she was asking Spirit, like, is it possible that Caroline from the Vampire Diaries can be my spirit guide? And wouldn't that be so cool? So she was literally thinking this while we were all tapping in. And I was like, whoa. Let me stop you there. I have got to share what I was seeing. And it all made sense. Caroline's blonde. I was familiar with the show. I watched the show for several seasons. I never finished it, but I knew that in the last season or so, she gets married. And I had probably seen a snippet from when my sister had watched it. I'd probably seen it at some point, but I feel like Spirit would not have shown me that specifically, because I definitely would have discounted it. So I told her that, and we laughed about it, and it all made sense. If you're not familiar with the Vampire Diaries, Caroline, the vampires, their face like kind of changes, and it starts to look really scary. Their fangs come out, and that was what I was seeing. I didn't make the connection. I didn't think it was possible that a vampire could be a gatekeeper. But this is a lesson in trusting what is coming through from Spirit, to just allow what's coming up. If you need to take a beat and be like, okay, Spirit, like, can you clarify? Can you reiterate what you're trying to show me, or show me something different that would maybe help me make the connection that you're trying to make, within my mind? Some people hear words, some people have just a knowing, or maybe they have a bodily sensation. But if there's anything coming through that you question, that you're not sure about, try not to, and I know it's difficult because I did it, try not to judge it. Try not to brush it aside and think, oh, I'm just kind of like being weird. I'm, letting these intrusive thoughts come in and mess up the program. Because honestly, that's what I thought. But Spirit was just using some of the imagery that was available to me and fresh in my mind from Beetlejuice. Like, there's a wedding scene, there's the gown, there's that trying to scare people off as ghosts. They're trying to scare off the family that moves into their house. So, spoiler alert, sorry. So that was what was coming through. That was the energy that was coming through. And looking back, this is for sure a lesson for me and maybe other people, to not discount what's coming through and what you're feeling. Just give it to your sitter, and you never know what is going to resonate with them, what's going to make sense for them. I was judging based on kind of a preconceived notion that, this friend surely didn't watch Vampire Diaries. Like, I never would have guessed. The other thing was a friend who's also in the group. She's like, oh, that's a great reminder for me, Jamie, because I actually have tickets to a Beetlejuice musical. And she's like, I should rewatch that movie. So anyway, I just thought that was a fun kind of spooky psychic ability story for everybody and a good reminder. Just a good lesson to allow what's coming up for you from spirit, that if you can trust what's coming through and give it without judgment, more often than not, it's going to resonate in some way. It's going at least to be able to, once you trust and commit and you say what's coming up, it will develop. Spirit will begin to bring through more messages. The more you give, the more you trust and commit to the message coming through. Because if you're judging something, if you're scared about saying something, what happens is you kind of end up blocking yourself from receiving more of the message. So trust what's coming through. I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I wish you all the best. I give you my love. But until next time, bye.